Imagine this. You're walking into a crowded room, hand in hand with a woman so stunning that every head turns the moment she enters. She's not just beautiful, she radiates confidence, elegance, intelligence. She laughs at your jokes, touches your arm gently, and you think to yourself, I must be doing everything right. You're treating her like royalty flowers, dinners, good morning texts, endless affection. You're being everything you were taught a good man should be. But then, something shifts. She's still smiling, but it feels less genuine. Her texts take longer to arrive. The sparkle in her eyes when she sees you begins to dim. You're left confused, wondering, what changed? The harder you try to bring the magic back, the more distant she becomes. Here's the uncomfortable question most men never dare to ask themselves. What if treating her like a queen is the very reason she's losing interest? Still with me, good. Because what I'm about to share might sound controversial, even offensive to some, but it will forever change the way you understand women, love, and attraction. The truth is harsh. Most men, 97% of them, are unknowingly sabotaging their relationships with women they adore, all because they don't understand one fundamental principle. For a woman to truly desire you, she must never feel completely secure in your love. Let that sink in. This doesn't mean being cruel. This isn't about playing games or using manipulation. It's about understanding the ancient psychological software that still runs inside every woman's mind today, whether she's a barista, a lawyer, or an Instagram model. And once you unlock this code, you'll begin to see things with terrifying clarity. If you give me the next few minutes of your undivided attention, I'll walk you through the hidden rules of female psychology that no one teaches you. Rules that, once understood, will give you the power to create the kind of attraction most men only dream of. Not surface-level interest, not temporary infatuation, but deep, emotional, obsessive desire. This is not just another dating tip video. This is a complete reprogramming of everything you thought you knew about love, relationships, and what it truly means to be a man that women can't walk away from. Let's go back to that image. You're dating a woman most men would kill to be with. She's beautiful, intelligent, kind, the kind of woman who turns heads without even trying. Every time she walks into a room, conversations pause, every man glances, every woman takes mental notes, and you feel proud, lucky, maybe even a little nervous because deep down, you don't want to lose her. So you do everything right, at least. Everything you've been told is right. You text her every morning with a sweet message. You send flowers on random Tuesdays just to brighten her day. You plan surprise dinner dates. Remember the little things she says. Always put her needs above your own. You're the picture of the perfect boyfriend, attentive, respectful, loving, the kind of man your mom would be proud of, the kind of man the movies tell you to be. But here's the twist most men never see coming. The more you show her that you're all in, the more she starts to pull away. At first, it's subtle. She starts replying slower, becoming less affectionate, less excited to see you. Then the coldness grows. Your gut tells you something's wrong, but you brush it off. Maybe she's busy, maybe she's just stressed. But what if it's something deeper? Something rooted not in logic, but in instinct. You're giving her everything. Your time, your heart, your full attention. But instead of drawing her closer, it's slowly pushing her away. And here's the part that stings the most. You have no idea why. You lie awake at night thinking, what did I do wrong? I treated her so well. I gave her everything. But that's exactly the problem. You gave her everything. Without asking her to earn it, you became predictable, safe, comfortable. And in doing so, You unknowingly shut off the very part of her psychology that fuels attraction, the thrill of the chase, the emotional suspense, the feeling of reaching up for something just out of reach. You see, love and attraction don't speak the same language. Love says, "I'll always be here." Attraction whispers, "Can I really keep him?" Love is steady. Attraction is uncertain. And women are not logical creatures when it comes to romance. They're emotional, instinctual, driven by feelings they often don't even understand themselves. The hard truth: if she feels like she's already won you, she stops playing the game. And once she stops playing the game, she stops feeling, she stops investing, she stops craving your attention. You didn't lose her because you weren't good enough. You lost her because you didn't understand the rules she's playing by. Now, let's make something clear from the start. When I say a woman must feel a slight sense of uncertainty to stay attracted to you, I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not suggesting you play games, ghost her, or treat her poorly. That's childish and self-defeating. I'm talking about something far deeper, something biological, psychological, evolutionary, something wired into her subconscious through millions of years of survival instincts. Let me ask you this: why is it that we tend to value the things we're not sure we can have? Why do luxury items, rare collectibles, or VIP access feel more desirable than their common counterparts? Because our minds are drawn to what feels just slightly out of reach. We crave the thrill of uncertainty, the tension between hope and fear. And guess what? Female attraction operates on this exact same principle. When a woman feels 100% secure in your affection, when she knows you'd never walk away, when she senses there's no mystery left to uncover her emotional system, does something subtle but powerful. It turns off the thrill. And without that thrill, desire fades. This isn't about logic. It's not about whether she loves you or whether you're a good guy. It's about emotional engagement. It's about creating the kind of internal tension that keeps her thoughts spinning and her emotions activated. Think of it this way: attraction isn't born in comfort. It's born in wonder, in uncertainty. In that quiet little question in the back of her mind: does he feel the same way? Have I won him over yet? Is he fully mine? Or do I still have to earn him? When she's asking those questions, she's engaged. When she's engaged, she invests. And when she invests emotionally, she falls. But the moment you eliminate those questions, when she feels like she's already figured you out, when she knows every move before you make it, her attraction begins to die. Not because she's heartless, not because she wants to hurt you, but because her psychology requires a sense of tension to sustain desire. So what does this mean in practice? It means you need to stop handing out your emotional validation like it's free candy. It means you don't need to tell her how amazing she is 10 times a day. It means you don't need to be at her beck and call every time she texts. In fact, sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is wait. Wait before replying. Wait before complimenting. Wait before giving her exactly what she wants. Because in that space of waiting, her emotions start to stir. Her mind begins to wonder. Her heart starts to reach. And that, right there, is where real attraction begins. Now, before you get the wrong idea, let's take a breath and set the record straight. This isn't about being cold. It's not about being manipulative. And it's definitely not about playing games just to get the girl. In fact, the moment you try to manipulate women, they feel it, and nothing kills attraction faster than forced behavior that doesn't match your true energy. So hear me clearly. You don't need to be mean. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to become the bad guy. What you need is understanding. understanding how women think, how they're wired, how attraction works inside their subconscious mind, far beneath the surface of what they say out loud. Because here's the paradox. She might tell you she wants a man who's always available, who showers her with affection, who puts her on a pedestal. But emotionally, she feels drawn to the man who makes her earn his affection, the man who doesn't need her, but chooses her, the man who doesn't chase, but leads, the man whose world is already full and she gets to be a part of it, not the center of it. You're not doing this to hurt her. You're doing this because you respect her instincts even more than she consciously understands them. You're honoring the truth of her psychology, because whether she knows it or not, a woman does not want to feel like she's your purpose. She wants to feel like she's earned a place beside a man who already has purpose. That's what makes her feel safe. That's what makes her feel alive. That's what makes her feel drawn in, addicted, and emotionally invested. Now you might be thinking, but won't she feel hurt if I'm not always available? Won't she feel neglected if I don't respond right away? Won't she walk away if I don't constantly reassure her? And the answer might surprise you. She'll only walk away if she senses you're doing it out of fear, out of scarcity, out of insecurity. But if your energy is calm, confident, centered, if you're not reacting to her behavior, but living on your own terms, she'll feel something much more powerful than safety. She'll feel attraction, respect, longing, a sense of challenge and hope braided together in a way she can't quite explain. Because she's not falling for a man who puts her above himself. She's falling for a man who puts himself first, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. So, again, this isn't about being heartless. It's about understanding that attraction isn't something you earn through effort or kindness alone. It's something you activate through polarity, masculine energy, decisiveness, strength, direction. When you embody those traits, you're not hurting her. You're giving her exactly what her deepest instincts are craving, even if she never puts it into words. Let's get into the first golden rule of attraction, a truth so deep, so primal, that it has been silently shaping human behavior for tens of thousands of years. Women are biologically wired to seek out men with higher survival value than themselves, not prefer, not sometimes, wired. This isn't a theory. This isn't a trend. It's evolution. And it's still influencing every romantic decision she makes, whether she realizes it or not. Let's go back in time, thousands of years ago, before dating apps, before society, before electricity. What kind of man did a woman need? A protector, a provider, someone who could defend her from danger, feed her through harsh winters, lead when things fell apart. In that brutal environment, the man who brought flowers wasn't enough. The man who tried to please her without showing strength or direction, he got eliminated. Because nice words don't protect you from wild animals. Sweet poems don't stop invading tribes. Affection doesn't feed hungry children. So, what did women learn to instinctively look for power? Presence, competence, and above all, superior value. This evolutionary preference became embedded into their psychology, passed down generation after generation, encoded into the very biology of attraction. And now, here we are in the 21st century. We have safety nets, Uber Eats, heated apartments, and social media. But guess what? Her brain is still running on ancient software. The environment has changed, but the instinct has not. So when a woman interacts with a man today, her subconscious is scanning for survival cues. Is this man stronger than me emotionally? Can he lead, decide, protect? Would I feel safer with him? Or more vulnerable? She's not doing this consciously. She might not even know why she feels turned off by the guy who does everything right. But her body knows. Her nervous system knows. Her instincts know. Because when a man's behavior signals weakness, neediness, or desperation, her subconscious reads it as a threat to her future survival, even if he's kind, even if he's successful, even if he means well. And when that happens, her attraction begins to shut down automatically, not because she's trying to hurt you, not because she's heartless, but because her ancient mind is whispering, "This man won't protect us. We'll have to protect him." And that is the ultimate death sentence for attraction. There's a word that explains nearly every confusing moment you've had with women. A word that's rarely spoken, but quietly drives female attraction from the shadows. That word is hypergamy. Hypergamy is the ancient biological instinct in women that compels them to seek the highest value mate they can realistically attract. Not the nicest man, not the most attentive man, the highest value man. It doesn't matter if she's conscious of it. It doesn't matter if she says, "Looks don't matter," or "money doesn't mean anything to me," because hypergamy isn't polite. It doesn't care about political correctness. It doesn't care about your feelings. It's primal, ruthless, and it's still very much alive. Let's break it down. In the ancestral world, a woman who chose a man beneath her in strength, status, resources, or emotional resilience was taking a massive risk. If that man couldn't protect her during an attack, if he couldn't feed her children during a drought, if he panicked under pressure, her bloodline would die out. On the other hand, if she could secure a man who was stronger, smarter, faster, more powerful, her survival odds skyrocketed. And so did the odds for her children. This natural selection pressure programmed women to constantly scan upward in the hierarchy, to be drawn to men whose value exceeds their own. Now fast forward to today, she's not worried about wolves or rival tribes, but that instinct to date up is still there, silently influencing her choices. She's still scanning every man she meets with invisible questions. Is he stronger than me emotionally? Is he more grounded, more confident, more certain? Would I follow him or lead him? And here's the brutal truth. If she senses that your value is lower or even equal to hers, her attraction begins to decay. Not because she's shallow, not because she wants to use you, but because her biology doesn't respond to sideways energy. It responds to upward momentum. You see, attraction is asymmetrical. A man can be attracted to a woman who's less successful, less wealthy, less confident. But a woman, she's wired to look up the mountain. She doesn't want to pull you up. She wants to climb toward you. And this is where most nice guys lose. They think being sweet, agreeable, and emotionally available is enough. But they fail to understand that without upward pressure, there's no tension. And without tension, there's no desire. It's like gravity. You don't feel drawn towards something that's beneath you. You feel pulled towards something higher. Hypergamy is that pull. And when you understand it, not resent it, you begin to position yourself differently. You stop trying to win her over. You stop begging for attention. You stop competing with other men in surface-level ways. Instead, you focus on becoming the man she instinctively can't help but desire. Not by talking about it, not by faking confidence, but by building real internal strength and letting her subconscious recognize your superiority without you saying a word. Because in her world, it's not enough to be good. You have to be better. Here's the part that breaks my heart the most. Most men aren't losing women because they're bad guys. They're losing them because they're too good, in the wrong way. They've been taught all their lives that to win a woman's heart, they need to be endlessly giving, constantly available, emotionally vulnerable, and agreeable at all times. So what do? They text her every morning before she even opens her eyes. They respond within seconds. No matter what they're doing, they cancel plans with their friends just to be with her. They agree with everything she says. They never challenge her, never disagree, never lead. They pour out their affection like it's water and she's a flower wilting in the sun. And then she pulls away, slowly, quietly, like a flame running out of oxygen. And he sits there, stunned. But I did everything right. I treated her like a queen. I gave her everything she could want. Yes, everything. Except what she actually needs. Because what she truly needs isn't a man who worships her. It's a man who challenges her, who excites her, who awakens her instincts, not just her comfort. You see, the modern man has been lied to. He's been told that the path to a woman's heart is through compliance, through emotional availability, through endless reassurance and submission. But what he doesn't realize is that these very behaviors, while well-intentioned, are communicating something deadly low value. When you bend over backward, when you give everything without boundaries, when you seem grateful just to be in her presence, you send a message to her subconscious that says, "I'm lucky to have you, because I don't believe I could get someone like you otherwise." And that's the message her instincts cannot respect. That's the moment she begins to pull away. Not because you're doing anything wrong on the surface, but because underneath it all, you've revealed too much investment, too much availability, too much certainty. She no longer feels the need to earn your attention. There's no mystery, no challenge, no edge. And without that, her attraction begins to collapse. She may stay with you out of politeness, or guilt, or even comfort. But that fire, that emotional hunger that makes her light up when she sees you, it's gone. And here's the irony. The guy she leaves you for, he might not treat her half as well, but he brings one thing you didn't: tension, not conflict, not abuse, but polarity, mystery, depth, strength, the sense that he could walk away, but chooses not to. And that's what drives her wild. Let's talk about a concept that almost every man misunderstands, a concept that silently shapes who gets the girl and who gets ghosted. It's called sexual market value, SMV for short. Now, I want you to picture dating like a massive, invisible marketplace. In this marketplace, every man and woman carries a number of value based on how attractive they're perceived to be. This value isn't just about looks. It's not just about money, or muscles, or status. It's about how desirable you are in the eyes of the opposite sex. And here's where most men get it completely wrong. They think SMV is determined by the car they drive, the digits in their bank account, their six-pack abs, or the designer clothes they wear. And sure, those things can help. They're visual cues. They can open doors. They can spark curiosity. But they're not what makes a woman feel something. Because a woman's attraction doesn't operate on spreadsheets and resumes. It's not rational. It's not linear. It's emotional. It's instinctive. It's subconscious. Which means her perception of your SMV is shaped far more by how you make her feel than by what you actually own. Let me say that again. Perception beats possession. Vibe beats visuals. Energy beats income. So what actually raises your SMV in her eyes? How you carry yourself, how grounded you are in silence, whether you seek her validation or offer your presence like a man who doesn't need it, how centered you remain when tested, whether you lead or follow. Because these are the signals she's biologically programmed to interpret. She's scanning you for emotional posture, not just physical posture. She's listening to your tone, your timing, your confidence, not just your words. So when you walk into a room like a man who has options, who knows his worth, who isn't looking to be chosen but is choosing, that's when her perception of your SMV shoots through the roof. And here's the beauty of it. This kind of value can't be faked, but it also can't be bought. It's built from the inside out. And when you finally stop trying to prove yourself to women and simply live from a place of power, purpose, and poise, that's when women stop seeing you as just another guy and start sensing you as a high-value man. So remember this, she's not attracted to your resume. She's attracted to your presence. And when your energy radiates certainty, strength, and self-respect, you'll never have to chase again. Let me paint you a real-world picture. Two men, two very different lives, two very different results with women. The first man, he's the kind of guy most men dream of becoming. A successful lawyer in his early 30s, drives a sleek black BMW, lives in a high-rise apartment with a panoramic view of the city. He's well-groomed, educated, articulate. On paper, he's a 10 out of 10. When he dates women, he goes all in, takes them to 5-star restaurants, sends long, thoughtful messages, showers them with compliments, buys them gifts after just 2 dates. He thinks, if I show her how serious I am, how generous I am, how emotionally available I am, she'll appreciate me. She'll stay. But what actually happens? They leave. Some disappear after a few dates. Others say he's too nice. One even told him, I don't know why. I just don't feel that spark. And every time, he's left scratching his head, thinking, what did I do wrong? I gave her everything. Now let's talk about the second man. He's a bartender, lives in a modest studio apartment, barely big enough for 2 people to stand, drives a beat-up old car, wears plain t-shirts and doesn't post much on social media, but when he walks into a room, he owns it, not by bragging, not by peacocking, but by the energy he carries. He smiles like he knows something you don't. He speaks when he has something to say, never to fill silence. He listens deeply, flirts playfully, and walks away before you expect him to. He doesn't chase. He doesn't explain. He doesn't try to prove anything. And the result? Women chase him. They double text him. They wonder what he's thinking. They tell their friends, I can't stop thinking about him. Why? Because the second man understands something the first never learned. Perceived value is more powerful than actual value. You can have money, success, muscles, and status. But if your energy says, please like me, you've already lost. You can have no car, no degree, and live paycheck to paycheck. But if your energy says, I am the prize, she'll believe it. Because women don't fall for what you have. They fall for how you carry what you have. It's not about impressing her. It's about expressing grounded masculinity in a way that says, I don't need you to want me, but I'm open to you earning me. That's rare. That's magnetic. And that is what separates the man who gets attention from the man who gets devotion. Here's something most men never realize. Something that flips the entire dating game on its head. Women don't respond to your reality. They respond to your perceived reality. Let that sink in. It's not about what you actually have. It's about how you make her feel about what you have. Because in the world of attraction, perception is everything. You can have all the surface-level signs of success, the car, the condo, the career. But if your behavior screams neediness, anxiety, and fear of loss, she will feel it. And that perception will override all your material advantages. Let's go back to the 2 men in the last example. The lawyer had status, wealth, and charm on the outside, but his behavior revealed something fatal. He needed her approval. He was seeking her affection. He was emotionally investing more than she was right from the start. And that kills attraction. Now, the bartender didn't have the same external resources, but he had something far more powerful: an abundance mindset. He carried himself like a man who already had value. He didn't try to prove it. He didn't seek reassurance. He didn't force chemistry. He allowed her to come to him because deep down, he believed he was worth pursuing. And that belief shaped her perception. This is the secret women don't even realize they're operating on. They're not calculating your value like an accountant. They're feeling your value through your behavior, tone, confidence, and boundaries. That's how perception is formed. So if you walk into a room, head held high, eyes calm, voice steady, if you speak with intention, move with purpose, and don't flinch at rejection, you will trigger instinctual attraction even if you don't have a six-figure income or model looks. Because here's the truth: confidence is rarer than cash. Self-respect is sexier than abs. Emotional detachment from her validation is more powerful than any pickup line. It's not about what you give her. It's about what she has to earn from you. That's the core of perception. That's how mystery is created. And that's what keeps her invested. She wants to feel like your attention is valuable, not because you said it is, but because your behavior proves it. So stop obsessing over what you need to buy or achieve to impress her. Start becoming the man who holds his value regardless of what room he's in, who's around, or how she reacts. Because when you radiate unshakable value, she'll feel it long before she understands it. Let's talk about something powerful, a psychological truth so simple, yet so devastatingly effective when understood. The less certain she is about your feelings, the more mental energy she invests in thinking about you. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? After all, we've been told that love is about clarity, communication, and consistency. And while that's true for building commitment, it's often the death of attraction. Because here's what most men don't understand: women aren't attracted to certainty. They're attracted to the feeling of pursuit, the inner drama, the questions, the suspense. Not because they're manipulative, but because that emotional roller coaster triggers something deep in their brain: obsession. Let me explain. In psychology, there's a principle called intermittent reinforcement. It means we become more attached to things when we receive unpredictable, inconsistent rewards. Think about gambling. Why do people get addicted to slot machines? Because they never know when the reward will come. That uncertainty is intoxicating. And guess what? Your attention works the same way. If you're constantly texting, calling, validating, and reassuring her, she adapts. She becomes desensitized. She takes you for granted. But when your attention is scarce, unpredictable, and subtly withheld, her mind starts racing with questions. Why hasn't he texted yet? Is he still into me? What's he thinking right now? And in that moment, something magical happens. She starts chasing you not out of strategy, but out of emotional curiosity. You become a puzzle she wants to solve, a mystery she needs to unravel, a man whose presence she starts to crave, not because you gave too much, but because you gave just enough. Now let's be clear, this isn't about ghosting or playing games. You're not ignoring her to win. You're simply choosing to protect the value of your attention by not giving it away freely. Because here's the second golden rule of female attraction: certainty creates comfort. Uncertainty creates obsession. If she knows everything about you, if she can predict your every move, if she knows you'll always be available, she stops reaching. She stops wondering. She stops feeling that magnetic pull. But if you create subtle space, maintain a bit of mystery, allow moments of silence and independence, You awaken the very instinct that keeps her coming back for more. And no, this isn't manipulation. This is emotional polarity. It's the dance of masculine and feminine energy. One creates space. The other moves toward it. When done with intention and respect, this tension doesn't create distance. It creates desire. So stop trying to prove how much you care. Stop eliminating all her doubts. And let her feel the thrill of not quite knowing. Because in that uncertainty, she'll find fascination. And in fascination, she'll find you irresistible. Let me take you deeper into one of the most powerful psychological forces ever discovered. It's not charm. It's not charisma. It's not even looks. It's intermittent reinforcement. The secret that makes slot machines addictive. The reason you can't stop checking your phone. And believe it or not, the very mechanism that makes a woman obsessed with a man. Here's how it works. When we receive rewards predictably, our brains get used to it. We begin to expect it. It becomes routine. And eventually, boring. But when rewards come unexpectedly on an inconsistent schedule, that's when we become hooked. Why? Because uncertainty activates our dopamine system. It's the same neural pathway triggered by gambling, social media likes, or video game wins. And in relationships, you are the reward. Your attention is the jackpot. Your validation is the dopamine spike. When you give it out all the time, texting good morning every day, always replying immediately, complimenting her nonstop, she adapts. At first, it's sweet. Then, it becomes expected. And soon, it loses all value. But when you give that attention sporadically, strategically, authentically, her emotional system lights up like a Christmas tree. She starts wondering, why hasn't he messaged yet? Did I do something wrong? How can I get that spark back? And suddenly she's thinking about you more than ever. You didn't disappear. You just became unpredictable. Let me be clear. This isn't about being manipulative. It's about being intentional. You're not withholding affection to play games. You're simply refusing to become so predictable that your presence feels automatic. Remember this. We value what we must earn. We chase what we're not sure we can keep. So instead of being her daily dose of dopamine on demand, become the unexpected thrill. Send a sweet voice note. Then go quiet for a day. Give her a sincere compliment. Then pull back into your mission. Take her out. Have a powerful night together. And then return to your purpose like nothing happened. This contrast, it's addictive. Because her brain is craving the next hit. Not because you manipulated her, but because you allowed the natural mechanics of desire to do their work. That's what creates emotional obsession. That's what keeps her mind coming back to you over and over. She doesn't want to solve you like a puzzle with the answer key taped to the side. She wants to earn the next page, turn the next chapter, feel like she's unlocking you bit by bit. So never underestimate the power of uncertainty. It's not a flaw. It's not cruelty. It's the very thing that keeps love alive, not with comfort, but with chemistry. Here's a truth most men never grasp. Validation is a currency, and just like any currency, when it's overprinted, it loses all its value. You see, every compliment you give, every "you're so beautiful," every "I miss you," every "I'm so lucky to have you" is a form of emotional currency. And early on, when it's rare and sincere, it feels incredible. It lands with weight. It makes her feel special. But when you give it away constantly, automatically, desperately, without making her earn it, that same validation becomes background noise. It stops feeling valuable, and worse, it starts feeling cheap. Let me give you an image. Imagine you walk into a store and see a luxurious designer handbag, priced at $3,000. Your eyes widen. You can't just buy it. You have to think, decide, commit. Now imagine that same handbag sitting in a discount bin at the grocery store marked down to $12. Do you still want it? No, because the perceived value is gone. That's exactly how women process your attention. When it's earned through effort, behavior, connection, it's priceless. But when it's handed out on day one, every hour, no matter what she does, it feels like that handbag in the clearance bin. She didn't work for it. She didn't earn it. And because of that, she can't respect it. Here's what you need to understand. Women crave validation, but they don't crave it from men who give it to everyone. They crave it from men whose approval means something. So when you validate her too much, too early, too often you rob her of the chance to feel like she's accomplishing something emotionally. Because make no mistake, she wants to feel like she's impressing you. She wants to feel like she's winning you over. She wants the challenge of climbing into your world. And when she gets that rare, authentic compliment, when she finally hears, "I really admire your mind," or "That thing you said earlier actually stuck with me," it hits 10x harder because it wasn't free. It was earned. So ask yourself, are you giving her validation like you're trying to buy her affection, or are you giving it like a man who knows his approval is rare and sacred? Remember this, every "I miss you" loses power when you send it every day. Every "you're amazing" becomes noise when it's on repeat. But the compliment that comes after silence, after space, after she's unsure if she's impressed you, that compliment, it becomes unforgettable. Because just like gold, let me ask you a simple question. What happens when you already know how a movie ends? You lose interest. The suspense disappears. There's no tension, no curiosity, no reason to stay glued to the screen. Now imagine watching that same movie over and over again. Same characters, same lines, same ending, boring. Right. Now let's bring this back to dating, because this is exactly what happens when you become predictable in a relationship. At first, she's excited. She wonders what you'll say next. She replays your texts. She gets butterflies. But over time, if you always text first, always respond immediately, always compliment her the same way, always take her to the same places, always follow the same script, she stops feeling that spark, not because she stopped liking you, but because she's already figured you out. And here's the psychological shift you need to understand when a woman knows exactly how you'll respond. She stops investing mental energy in you. And when she stops investing mental energy, she stops feeling attraction, because desire lives in uncertainty, in unpredictability, in the delicious tension of what's going to happen next. Think of your attraction like fire. Predictability is water. It slowly puts out the flame drop by drop. That's why so many relationships start hot, heavy, passionate. Again, within months, they turn into routines, schedules, textbook date nights, robotic affection. The man thinks he's being a good boyfriend. He shows up every day. Same smile, same gestures, same good morning texts. But in her mind, it feels like déjà vu. She doesn't feel challenged. She doesn't feel excited. She doesn't feel alive. And eventually, she starts to emotionally drift. She may not leave right away, but inside, she's already walking away. Now here's what most men do when they feel her pulling back. They double down on predictability. They get even more available. They send more texts, plan more dates, try harder to fix it. But that only speeds up the collapse. Because what she really needs isn't more comfort. It's contrast, polarity. The feeling of, I don't have him completely yet. So how do you break this pattern? Simple, stop being predictable. Start being present. Surprise her. Not with gifts, but with depth. Change your tone. Pull back your energy sometimes. Make decisions she doesn't expect. Say no when you feel no. Lead her instead of asking for instructions. Because unpredictability doesn't mean chaos. It means you're still growing, still unfolding, still a mystery. And the moment she realizes, I don't fully have him yet, but I want to, that's the moment she leans in again. Now we need to talk about something subtle. Something that catches 99% of men off guard. Something that if you understand it will set you apart forever. Women constantly test you. Not to be cruel, not to manipulate, but to assess your value. It's not conscious. It's instinct. It's biological. And it's happening all the time. Here's what most guys think. She's just being moody. She's being difficult. She's trying to pick a fight. But in reality, she's checking your frame. She's observing how grounded you are, how emotionally stable, how reactive or how calm you remain under pressure. Because her subconscious is asking, can I trust this man to lead? Can he handle my emotions? Without folding into them, let's break down the most common tests women give so you can see them coming. 1. The cold test. She suddenly pulls back emotionally. She's less affectionate. She's quiet. She seems distant. Most guys respond with panic. They text more, call more, ask, what's wrong? Try to fix the energy. But when you do that, you're showing her something dangerous that her emotional state controls yours. The correct response. Stay grounded, match her energy calmly, focus on your life, let her come back on her own. Because when you don't flinch, she thinks, wow, he's emotionally solid. I can trust that. 2. The comparison test. She casually mentions another guy, talks about her ex. Tells you some guy at work flirted with her. Why? To see if you'll react, to see if you'll get insecure, to see how emotionally dependent you are on her approval. Wrong response. Jealousy. Trying to outdo the other guy. Asking 20 questions. Right response. Be unaffected, maybe even agree with her. Yeah, he sounds like a good-looking guy. Too bad I'm still more interesting. That subtle confidence tells her you can mention other men, but I still know where you're coming home. 3. The availability test. She cancels plans last minute, or says, let me check my schedule. She's watching your reaction. Will you beg to reschedule? Will you act disappointed or worse, angry? Wrong move. Oh, no worries, I'm free all week. What day works best for you? Right move. Hold your ground. Say something like, all good. I made other plans. Let me know when your schedule's more certain. Then, go live your life. That's respect. That's boundaries. And that's insanely attractive. Here's what you must remember. These tests aren't about right or wrong. They're about emotional strength. She's not testing to destroy you. She's testing to discover you, to feel whether you can protect her, lead her, hold space for her wild emotions, without becoming emotional yourself. Because when you fail these tests, you show her that you're dependent on her reactions, that your world shifts based on her mood, and that makes her feel unsafe. But when you pass them, she starts to relax, respect you, admire you. She thinks I can finally let go because he's already solid. So next time she tests you, don't flinch, don't chase, don't fold, smile, stay centered, and pass with flying colors. Let's go even deeper. Because what happens when you consistently fail those tests? What happens when you show weakness, neediness, or emotional dependence? She doesn't just get bored. She doesn't just lose interest. Her body starts to reject you, literally. This isn't poetic metaphor. This is biological fact. When a woman perceives consciously or subconsciously that your value is lower than hers, her ancient survival software kicks in, and what it tells her is brutal. This man is not safe. He's not strong. He's not worthy of my genetics. You see, throughout evolutionary history, a woman's survival depended on choosing the right man. If she chose a weak mate, one who couldn't defend her or lead through crisis, she and her children could die. So nature developed a powerful system inside her, an emotional immune response. When she senses low value in a man, her sexual desire fades. Her irritability increases. She becomes more easily annoyed by your presence. She stops initiating touch. She avoids intimacy. She even starts to question the relationship without fully understanding why. And the most painful part, you might be doing everything right. You love her. You support her. You check in constantly. You rearrange your schedule for her. You treat her like gold. But to her subconscious, that behavior doesn't scream strength. It screams dependence. It whispers, "He needs me more than I need him. He can't lead me. He follows me." And her nervous system hears that whisper loud and clear. So she pulls back, emotionally, physically, energetically. You start to notice it in the smallest ways. Her replies are shorter. Her hugs feel mechanical. Her kisses, slower, colder. She's tired more often. She picks fights over nothing. And you think, what did I do wrong? I'm trying so hard. That's the tragedy. Because in trying harder, you only reinforce the signal, I'll do anything to keep you, even give up my masculinity. And that kills attraction. Now, does this mean she's evil? No. She's not doing it on purpose. She's not plotting. She's not calculating. It's instinct. Survival wiring. Her biology protecting her lineage from weakness. So how do you reverse it? You stop trying to earn her love through submission and start reactivating her desire through strength. You take your power back. You reestablish your frame. You focus on purpose. You lead. You pull your energy away calmly, without drama and reminder, without words. You're with me because I'm the strongest option, not because I needed you to stay. When she feels that shift, she doesn't just respect you again. She desires you again. Because her body doesn't want safety alone. Her body wants the thrill of strength, the presence of a man she feels lucky to have. And when you become that man again, she feels it. Not in her head, in her gut. There's a subtle shift that happens when a woman starts to feel something deep for a man. A shift that reveals you're not just in her thoughts, you're in her heart. And more importantly, you're in her biology. But this shift doesn't come in the form of fireworks. It's not a dramatic confession. It's not a sudden, I love you out of nowhere. No, it's in how she communicates. Let me explain. Most women, especially early on, communicate covertly, through hints, suggestions, implications. She doesn't say, hold me. She says, it's cold in here. She doesn't say, I miss you. She just replies with a meme at 11:30 p.m. She doesn't say, I want to see you. She says, I'm bored. What are you doing? Why? Because feminine energy is subtle. It moves like water, indirect, emotional, mysterious. But when a woman feels like she might lose you, something changes. Suddenly, she goes from covert to overt, from suggestion to statement. Instead of, I'm cold, she says, can I have your jacket instead of memes at midnight? She texts, I miss you. Instead of passive comments, she calls you directly, checks in more often, becomes more affectionate, more emotionally available. Why does this happen? Because in that moment, her subconscious realizes you are not fully hers. You haven't given yourself away completely. You're not chasing. You're not over-investing. You're still rooted in purpose, not just in her. And to her ancient brain, that's a problem she must fix fast. Her survival wiring says, If I don't secure this high-value man, another woman will. If I don't show him how I feel, I might lose him forever. So she stops dancing around her feelings. She steps into direct communication. Not because you asked her to, not because you pressured her, but because you created space for her desire to grow. This is the beautiful paradox when you pull back with strength. She steps forward with clarity. When you stop trying to win her, she starts trying to win you. When she goes from subtle to sincere, from passive to passionate. That's not weakness. That's not her falling too hard. That's her feminine energy fully activating. And make no mistake, this is one of the most powerful signs of real attraction. Because a woman will never chase a man she doesn't see as above her. She will never fight for a man she believes she's already conquered. But if she's checking in, opening up, taking the lead emotionally, then you're no longer just a man she likes. You've become a man she fears losing. And when that happens, you've won something most men never even come close to: her respect, her admiration, and her instinctual desire. Now here's the part that hurts the most, because most men aren't failing at attraction from a lack of effort. They're failing because they followed the wrong advice. The kind of advice that sounds noble, sounds modern, sounds like what a good man should do, but in practice, it kills attraction. Let's look at the usual prescriptions. Just be yourself. Open up emotionally. Tell her how you feel as soon as possible. Always be honest and transparent. Make her your priority. Communicate everything. Share everything. She'll appreciate how much effort you put in. Sound familiar? Now listen, these things aren't evil. They're not wrong in every context. They have their place in mature, committed love. But when you apply them too early, too often, without polarity, they backfire. Why? Because they collapse mystery. They flood her nervous system with certainty. They signal emotional overinvestment before she's earned it. And that makes you predictable, available, and easily replaced. The very things that were supposed to bring her closer, instead, make her lose interest. Here's what nobody tells you. Attraction isn't built on full access. It's built on emotional tension. That doesn't mean lie. It doesn't mean play games. But it does mean you must pace your vulnerability. Don't give her your soul on the second date. Don't text her your childhood wounds after one night together. Don't cancel your gym session just because she's feeling down. Not yet, because if she hasn't earned that part of you, she can't value it. You're not being rude. You're being disciplined. Disciplined in your energy. Disciplined in your emotions. Disciplined in what part of you she gets and when. Think of it like a beautiful novel. If she reads every page in one night, there's no anticipation left. But if you hand her one chapter at a time, each page becomes a treasure. You become a story she's dying to keep reading. That's the power of pacing. That's the truth most dating coaches won't tell you, because it's not easy. It takes restraint, strength, self-respect, and yes, sometimes it means saying no to what feels good in the moment, so you can create something magnetic in the long term. Because here's the reality. You can hit the gym, you can dress better, make more money, learn to cook, level up your entire outer world. But if you leak your masculine energy in the form of overexposure, she will feel it. She will label it as too much, and she'll walk. Meanwhile, the man with less flash but more control, he keeps her up at night, wondering, craving, reaching. So stop thinking being a better man means giving her everything right away. Being a better man means having the strength not to. Let's talk about one of the biggest misunderstandings men have when it comes to women. They think that if they love her deeply, treat her kindly, support her dreams, show her devotion, then she'll stay. Then she'll be loyal. Then she'll never leave. But here's the harsh truth. Love is not enough. Love alone does not create desire. Love does not equal passion. Love without attraction feels like friendship, like brotherly care, like comfort without chemistry. And here's where most men go wrong. They focus only on building love, but forget to maintain attraction. They nurture the connection. They become safe, predictable, supportive, and slowly, unknowingly, they kill the polarity. Because while love is built through consistency, attraction is sustained through contrast. Let me say that again. Love says, I'm here for you. Attraction says, I might not be. Love says, you're my everything. Attraction says, I already had everything before you came. Love says, I'll give you the world. Attraction says, the world is mine. Would you like to join? It's not about playing games. It's about keeping the masculine-feminine polarity alive. She wants to feel loved, yes, but she also wants to feel challenged. She wants to feel safe, but never in full control. Because when she knows you're emotionally hers, 100% without mystery, without standards, without edge, that's when attraction fades. She might stay with you, out of comfort, out of loyalty, out of shared memories, but deep inside, her fire dies. So if you want a relationship that doesn't just survive, but burns with passion, obsession, devotion, you must balance both. Love through your presence, your care, your commitment, and attraction through your boundaries, your strength, your independence. The modern man focuses on love alone. The seductive man focuses only on attraction. But the rare man, the one she thinks about years later, the one she never forgets, is the man who masters both. He's kind but never soft. He's generous but never spineless. He loves her, but he'll never need her. And that's what makes her fall deeper. Again and again, even years into the relationship, because deep down, every woman wants to feel two things at once: loved and slightly unsure. That edge, that tension, that contrast. That's what keeps her coming back. So now you know. You've seen behind the curtain. You've felt the shift. And maybe, just maybe, you finally understand why women lose interest in men who treat them perfectly. Not because women are cruel, not because they want drama, not because they don't appreciate kindness, but because deep inside their nervous system, they are wired for something more primal. They are wired to crave tension, to reach upward, to earn, to chase, to respect. They fall not for the man who gives them the world, but for the man who already owns his world and invites them in. So what do you do with all of this? You stop chasing. You stop over-explaining. You stop proving. You stop trying to make her fall for you and instead become the man she can't help but fall into. Because here's the truth. She doesn't fall in love with you. She falls in love with how she feels about herself in your presence. So when you treat her like the prize, when you pedestal her before she's earned it, you rob her of the emotional experience she craves most, the experience of earning a man's attention, of working for his love, of feeling proud she was chosen by someone who didn't need her but chose her anyway. That's the difference between the man she dates and the man she remembers. So ask yourself now, are you making her feel like she already has you, or are you making her feel lucky to keep you? Because the most attractive man is not the one who needs women. It's the man who is already full with purpose, peace, and power, and chooses to share that with someone who's worthy. And that man doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't overinvest. He stands firm, calm, unshakable. He lets her earn his affection. Not because he's cruel, but because he values what he gives. He doesn't fall into her frame. He invites her into his, and when she finally steps in, when she gives herself to him freely, not because she has to, but because she wants to, that's not game. That's not manipulation. That's pure masculine leadership. So remember this: don't try to win her. Be the man she feels lucky to win. The kind of man she can't forget. The kind of man she brags about to her friends. The kind of man she respects in silence and desires with fire. This is the psychology of female attraction in its purest form. Now use it wisely and watch as everything in your relationships changes forever.